Okay, let's do it.
All right, going live.
Awesome.
We are live.
Well, hello.
Welcome everybody to our watercolor gel printing YouTube live stream. We actually have 8 people
Okay, let's do
already
it.
with us. Yeah, going live.
Awesome.
Yeah, so I think I feel like 8 people is a good number to get started with. So today, Karen's going to be showing us some really cool stuff that she's been playing around with using gel printing or using her gel printing plate with watercolors and a few of our different papers, including rice paper. That should give you guys some inspiration in case you've ever wondered what you can do with the rice paper besides sumi or, oh, that's bigger than I thought. That's so cool. So hopefully you guys walk away with a lot of inspiration and feel free to ask all your questions. I will be keeping an eye on the comments box. And that's all I'm going to say for now. Go ahead and take it away, Karen.
Okay, well, hello, everybody. Glad you're here. My favorite thing in the world is watercolor. And I love the jelly plate, and I love that I can do watercolor with it. So I wanted to just kind of focus on our rice papers because our rice papers are Yasutomo rice paper, which is I'm going to feature they're the newer papers. They're a little bit nicer quality, but you can still do it with the practice papers too. This is the Gassen. I'm going to show you how watercolor is with that on the gel plate. Same with this one. This Torinico is actually has less absorbency. So it floats the watercolor, and the Gassen soaks it in. So there's going to be 2 different effects that I'm going to get with that, which is really fun. Also, I'm going to play with the mineral paper because we have a thicker mineral paper now. And at the end, maybe I'll have Phoebe talk to you about that. But the paper is a lot heavier. And Phoebe, maybe you can tell me the weight of the new mineral paper.
Totally. Yeah, so the paper that we've been carrying for a while is 100-pound or 150 GSM. And then the new paper, the new mineral paper was developed because we got so much feedback asking for heavier stuff. So that's 240 grams or 150 pounds. Sorry, let me show it real quick on the camera because it's a new item. So we are really excited about it. Let's do a little bit of a switcheroo. Oh, come on, computer. Oh, and I'm going to probably have to remove my background. So this is the new mineral paper. It's currently only available in the really big size, the 11 by 14 inch, because that's what most people were interested in. So the old mineral paper is 100 pounds and the new mineral paper is 160 pounds. It's a lot sturdier, a lot thicker. If you see that on the shelves of your favorite art supply store, that's what that product is.
Thank you, Phoebe, because that really, I like the mineral paper, always have, but I really like that it's thicker. You know, we need to it's a great addition. I'm glad everybody's got that. So I'm squeezing out some watercolors from our NNC or inexpensive student grade tubed watercolors instead of doing it out of my little small travel tray. So I'm just going to do, I don't know what I just squeezed out. I'm going to try to keep it in the theme of the ocean because I've kind of been wanting to do that. And I've got some stencils that I'm going to use. And I'm just going to show you the different things about working with the gel plate and the stencils and how the different effects you can get. So I've got green, blue, 2 blues, and I think I'm going to even throw in, just for fun, some of this pearl colors, just because it kind of reminds me of the ocean. Bubbles. So I'm just going to stick with those, a limited palette today. I've got this beautiful Japanese watercolors. I believe this is a blue. I'm going to just take the blues out. I've got 2 blues. One's more of a phthalo blue, and one will be more of a cobalt blue. And there's also a really gorgeous green. I think I'm going to do that. And then I'm not going to even use any of the colors. Of course, I can't tell what that is. So sometimes you can't tell until you actually put the color in. Ooh, what is that color? That's like a beautiful Payne's gray or something. So I'm going to use that. It's not black, it's just a nice gray. So I'm going to move those out of the way, keep my palette 1 color range just to make it more fun. Now today I've got an 8 by 10 jelly plate, and I also I'm going to try out this brand new baby. It is a 9x12, which is actually perfect for our 6H pads. Perfect. You won't have any, it just sits right over it. I didn't bring this 6H today, but I'm going to stick with this for now, and I may go to the 9x12. But so I've got my limited colors. I've got some silver, and I have this on hand. I like to have the Baron to make my prints, to push the color onto my paper, and I have the paper. So I also have some stencils, but let me just show you what happens when you do watercolor directly on the plate. So I'm going to just use and get some water, and I'm going to try not to make it too thin. I want it sort of heavy, not so watered down. I want it kind of creamy instead of super watered down. So I've got some blue here. I'm just going to brush it on, and you notice what happens. See how it beads up. It just beads up like crazy. That's not a bad effect, but I'm going to show you some tricks about that. So I'm just going to put on this blue, and I'm taking my time, because what I love about watercolor compared to, like, let's say acrylics, the acrylics are going to dry on my plate, and then I'm going to have to clean it up. The watercolors are not. They're going to, well, they may dry, but you can always re-wet them with a little spray. So I'm just going to put a little cobalt blue. And what I like about these tubed watercolors, which I should show you the cover here if I can grab it, because this is an early set. It doesn't have it doesn't even have labels on it. If I can get it out, it's actually, I'll have Phoebe show you. But this is, Phoebe, tell me how much this set is right now. This Niji 15 color set, if you could.
Oh yeah, that one retails for $12.99.
Yeah, so it's a good set, and it's in a tube. For this technique, see how I'm taking my time? I'm just not going to rush it. I'll put some green on there. I'm just brushing it on. Okay, so there it is. I want to show you what happens. So this is a good set for doing gel printing, just to let you know. So I'm going to take some rice paper. I've got this one, I believe. I'm not sure which one. I'll know when I do it. I think this is Tornico, but I'll find out. I'm just going to let you know. I'm just going to show you. Move these out of the way. They're in the way right now. Okay. So here it is. You can, if you wanted to spray a little, just do a little bit of spray. Go ahead. I have distilled water to do that. And now I'm just going to make just by brushing it, I'm going to pull my first print. And this is the nope, yep, it is. I think it is. Oh, I put some blue ink, oopsie. Anyway, I'm creating a color on the back because I was doing this the other day, and anyway, I didn't clean my stuff off. But no worries, it's on the back. But now I want to show you what this is going to look like. So our first print, and it's lovely, and this is Tornilco, so it's going to act differently. All that texture and all that fun, I really like it. Now, I'm going to do the same thing with the Gaussen, and the Gaussen is a lot more absorbent. So I'm going to show you. I'm going to have to pull out a sheet, knowing that this is the Gaussen. It's going to be a little different. I've got a piece of that. I'm going to use the smooth side, and I can actually redo this. I'm just going to go ahead and do it again. Put some color down. Make sure it's wet, or I could spray it and it probably redissolve the color that's already on there. Okay, so that's, now I'm going to use this one. This is the Gaussen, so it's going to act differently. See how it soaks through? Right now, I know that that's the Gaussen because the colors are coming through. And what's going to happen is it's going to be a completely different experience. I'm going to not use this to, so I'm smearing the, oh well. All right, so I'm going to show you what I mean. So I'm going to pull that up, and you'll see a completely different look. This I just love. Here's the first one. This is more like a watercolor paper. It just acts differently. So I've got a really fabulous background now. I'm going to come back to these. I'm just going to set it aside. And I just want to share with you about the gel plate. So let me just do something since I'm already doing this. I might as well. I want to show you this. So I'm going to put a stencil down. And this time I'm going to use some green, more greens. I might even use some of this gorgeous green in this Japanese watercolor. These are totally interchangeable with the tube, no problem. So I'm going to put it on like this, just straight onto my stencil. And look how it's sticking to my stencil, but it's floating off of the gel plate, which could be a really interesting thing. I'm going to throw a little blue on there and just kind of loosely, just having fun with just playing with the color. Since I'm only doing blues and greens, I'm not worried about making mud today. So I'm not going to even think about that. This is more of showing you what you can do with watercolor in rice paper on this gel plate. And the stencils help too, but they're not necessary. Okay, I'm going to put this piece of mineral paper. It's so thick I can't tell. I'm just going to drop it right down on it and see what happens. I'm going to just drop it on the stencil and on the surface. Oh, basically going through both. And the reason I'm doing that, I just want to see what happens. It's always fun. And I'm going to lift it up. Now, this is a completely different type of look. Now, gorgeous, gorgeous. Can't wait for that to dry. But look at the lines of the stencil, the bubbling in the leaves, and then the solid areas where the stencil was accepting the paint. Nice. Okay, so now I'm going to take this, I'm going to do a little something that I really want to show you the trick here. Okay, see this stuff? It's dish soap. Dish soap is going to be your friend, and I'm going to explain why. I'm just going to put this aside for now, and I'll come back to that in a minute. But I'm going to put a little drop, not much, just a drop. Maybe that's too much. Oh, well. I'm going to stick that stencil right over. I'm just going to put it, well, first I'm going to put it on my plate. Look at the colors. It's not bubbling up. So I'm going to put some blue down. See how it's nice and smooth? That makes a difference. So we've just created a film to make so that now the stencil or the paint is going to stick to, it's going to be a totally different experience here. So I'm just going to do a little green, but see how it's just doing gorgeously. And what else was I going to, I'm going to try something different. I should have picked this. I'm going to do something weird. I'm going to use a piece of rice paper. This is probably the Tornico, I think. I'm just going to put that on. Nope, that's the Gossin. You can tell right now. And let's just see what we get. And that's the soap. So it's got a little, and I promise it won't suds up. But see what a different print what a nice print I got. Completely different than what I had before. So I'm going to put that aside. And now if I have a little ghost print, which I think I'm going to get, I'm excited about that. I'm going to put this on the mineral paper because it's neat looking. I'm just going to put that on and see what I get. I'm just going to rub that on. So you just need dish soap if you want to have your watercolors behave more like watercolors. Hey, look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? Oh, I love it, love it, love it. That's on the mineral paper. Now you'll know with mineral paper, I'm going to go over this in a minute, or any watercolor on a surface like a side surface paper, like watercolor paper or mineral paper, the watercolor is going to move around after it dries, just like, because it's not permanent. And I'm going to talk about that in a minute. I'm making some layers of prints right now, and then we'll come back to them. So I've got this nice little ghost print thing going on here. So let's try something. I've got this beautiful, and this is what I was playing with the other day. I just thought I fell in love with this stencil. I'm going to tell you about this stencil. It's fabulous. It's made by Megan Quinlan. She's an artist, and I love her stencils. I just wanted to give her a shout out because I love that, like how big and expressive this is and how it goes it's just beautiful. I'm going to put a little silver in here. I don't know what it's going to look like, but I'm going to try putting a little silver. It may not translate, but we'll see. And just some blue, maybe this cobalt blue. And I'm going really wet and loose, not worried about it at all. And I'm going to go ahead and just grab a piece of paper. Actually, I'm going to take it off first. There we are. I'm going to use that stencil again over and over. I'm going to put this down here. See, I'll do it on this side. And this is the Dawson. Yep. Okay. If you have soaked through, then I know which one it is. Otherwise, they're hard to tell. So I'm going to lift that up and show you that print. Look how it looks like a wave. I mean, it's already the ocean. It's just stunning to me. Of course, I probably could have composed it differently because it's smack there, but let me do this again and I'm going to show you. I just think this is so cool. I'm going to do it again, just put it back on there. And she has different size waves. I just think these are so cool. And I have some soap still on there. So the soap is, allowing, it to sit a little bit, but it's also bubbling just enough so that it's really fun. And I think the silver did show through, which is really neat. This is more of a dark, let's put this, whatever this blue Payne's gray or whatever it is. Grab some of this and just kind of take your time, play. You could even put some bubbles over here, maybe these little marks, why not? And then I'm gonna set this over. I'm gonna have a mess. I know it. I'm done with this. All right, I'm gonna lift it up. There's my little sort of scene going on here. And this is what I did with that print that you saw. This is how I did it. I just kind of layered. I'm just using the same, going back with the same piece of paper. And I've got this really cool, like, design happening with these bubbles and ocean kind of looking stuff. It's just, to me, it's just fabulous. So I'm going to set that aside. And I'm good. Now that I have the soap, let's say you want to go back to your bubbles. Let me try to do this. I'm going to take a baby wipe. Hopefully this will work. If it doesn't, then I'll have to use a hand sanitizer. Works if you have some hand sanitizer and you want to get back to making bubbles again, then you can just wipe off the soap. That's all you need to do. Just get that soap film off. And I think you can go back to it. Let's find out. You should be able to go back to your painting directly on and letting that bubble, which I think is so pretty. It still has a little bit of it's bubbling a little, but not as much. And I'm just drawing kind of like random lines, just experimenting here, making little backgrounds. And yeah, there's some bubbling going on, which I really like. I'm just kind of making marks. And now I could use the same, let's see, I'm going to use some more mineral paper. I'm just going to make some base layers here. I'm putting the mineral paper down. And then let's see what that looks like. Now I do totally different. It kind of it's sort of a interesting thing. I'm not sure if we'll see what happens when I go back to it, but just getting down the first layers. Now I've got this nice ghost print, which I think is going to look really cool. We'll do this on this gauzy paper. And let's see what we got. Let's see. Now that pulled off all the paint and it made a nice, beautiful, soft impression of just very beautiful. I love the colors. So now I'm going to take another stencil because I just love stencils. I'm going to paint right over this one. This time, I'm just going to use the Japanese watercolor, which comes in a set. It's called WC211. It's got all the primary colors. But I just love the blues for today. I just think it kind of works with this theme. And then I'm going to grab some green watercolor in the tube. I'm just painting over my stencil. Okay, like that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to lift the stencil up. And I've got this interesting shapes going on. And I'm going to use it. I'm going to put it right over this background. And then go ahead and let's do a layer here. See what it looks like. See, now it's starting to have some definition and pattern, which I really like. Now there's another thing I like to do, and I'm going to do this with, I'm just going to paint using this, maybe a darker, see if I can grab that gray. I don't know if that's gray, what that is. I want to get it dark, or I could use some Sumi ink. That would be fun. I did bring out my Sumi ink, but let's see if I can do, these are interesting. Okay, cool. So I'm getting some, you see I'm making little branches, kind of like, they look broken up, but they're really cool looking. Like just little branches like that. I think I'll just leave it like that. And then I'm going to get some paper, or go through a few sheets of this, a whole pack. I'll need some more of this. So then I'm good, and I see some water there, and I need to dab that up. I drip some water from my brush, right? And I need to get that out of the way. So now I'm just going to put it down like that. And now I have my little branches started. Let's see what they look like after. And oh, pretty. Okay, so that is going to be something else later, but I want to, that's the base. Okay, so now there's a little hint of that. So if I wanted to make several prints, let's say, feel I'm in the mood to make a lot of these, I could put a little soap. I'm just going to grab a little soap, dish soap right here, just a touch of it right in the tray. And I'm going to use it instead of, to clean that out. That's not, what color is that? I need the black. Where'd it go? That is blue. I'm trying to find the black. Cool. Well, I'm going to grab some Sumi ink. It's somewhere. It's in my collection somewhere. Some Sumi ink. You can do this. This is water-based as well, and it's going to get messy. So I'm going to try to just put a little right in my, there we go. Not too much. Now, of course, when you're mixing Sumi ink with watercolors, you want to use a different brush. Like I don't want to use that brush for my, I never use my Sumi ink with a standard watercolor brush. I will use it with a Sumi brush only because it's not it's not happy if you do that. It just never comes out. So I'm mixing it with a little soap, okay? Just a touch of the soap is like a medium. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to follow my little lines, except I'm making branches kind of based on what I had before. Look how nice and dense those are because I have a little soap in them. There we go, beat it up. And then maybe here and here. So you can just draw right on your gel plate and do these really cool like tree things. And I'll show you what I'll do later. This actually just makes it really interesting. And then you can always, if you don't like it, you could come back, you can wipe it off or just use some scrap paper to get rid of it. And then you can come back to, you can print it when you know that you like the design, basically. So that's a really good way to start. This is like Sumi painting, but cheating. I'll explain that in a second. I find that it's sometimes very intimidating to go on a piece of expensive rice paper, especially if it's art quality. And here we go. And here we go. Now I've got this beautiful branch started on my Sumi paper. So there we go. I love that. Now I'm going to wipe this down, and I've got a couple more things I want to show you before I start doing that layering. And I hope everybody's enjoying it. So far, I sure am. It's always fun to play with watercolor. So I don't think, if I really wanted to get this off, I would use some hand sanitizer to get my bubbles back. Let's see if I can get that, or I could maybe get some distilled water, get some water on there, and take a paper towel and just kind of get that soap off. So that, because I want that bubble back. I'm kind of longing for those bubbles again. All right, see how gel plates are pretty sturdy. I'm kind of beating it up a little, and it seems to be okay. So I'm going to take my watercolor, and I'm going to use some blue. And yes, I have my bubble back. Yay! But instead, I'm going to wipe that off here. I've got these beautiful stencils also from Megan. I'm just going to put those over here, and I'm just going to kind of make some shapes. I just want I want areas white, but I also want the shape, of what's in the stencil. There we go, just like that. Just a little randomy thing, and now I'm going to pick it up. And I've got this bubbles from a lot of bubbles. Now, what I'm going to do, and it may be too much, I'm going to do a print. I'm going to pull a print. Let's see, on one of mine here. I don't know which one here. I'm going to do it on the ocean one, just because it's kind of the ocean theme. And I'm not going to do the whole thing. I'm just going to do this part. And I kind of want to see what that looks like. See, I've just added some more elements. And I'm also going to, I see that needs to be done. So I'm just going to put a little bit right there. And there. Now it looks like the whole paper is covered, which I really like. Okay, so there, now I'm ready to do the next thing. So I'm going to put some more bubbles, but this time I should use a different color. I'm going to grab, just to see what happens, I'm going to grab some paint out of this, and I'm going to use some turquoise, kind of like I think it's phthalo turquoise. Still in the same blue range. And this time I'm just going to kind of do maybe a sky or something. Or, well, I don't know, it's not a sky, but something that kind of just horizontal, landscapey kind of looking thing. Like that. And then I may just blot out some of it. Kind of maybe look like clouds or something, just here and there. I've got an idea. There we go. And now I'm going to take this paper here that I've already done my thing on. I'm going to just put a layer of color. Now I've got a back sky happening, right? Well, it's a little bright, but you know, you get the idea, right? And let's see, I'll try another one. Since this is my first one, I'll go ahead and do another, the same idea, but just maybe a lighter, a little bit more pale, and maybe a softer blue. And just kind of make it like a sky, ethereal looking. Same thing, blotting out there, making little towel clouds. And now I'll just pull this print right here. I'll just lay it right on top. And let's see what we got. Oh, fun. I love it. Okay. So I've shown you the thing about gel print, the jelly printing, and how you can do the watercolor. You could leave this on for the rest of the day, rinse it off. There's no need if to worry about it drying and ruining your plate. I do notice that watercolors stain the plate for some reason more than acrylics, and don't worry, it doesn't hurt the plate. It just does. There's a stuff called Aquafix. This is for watercolor. It is like an acrylic medium for watercolor. You see how thin it is? It's really thin. If you want to make your paper permanent, let's say on your mineral paper, because I'm going to do a print using my mineral paper and I don't want it to move. So I'm going to put a little bit of this Aquafix. I'm going to put it right in here. You don't want to put it in your paints because it will make it permanent because it turns it into an acrylic. You don't want that. You just want to just a little bit. So I'm going to put a little bit in my tray, maybe not much, just a little. And then I'm going to mix up some color here. And I'm going to use, let's see, I'm going to grab this color. No, this one. I'm getting more paint on my hands today than I ever have. So I don't even know where I put that stuff. I think I put it right there. So I'm going to stick it. Here we go. Now I've got some color. That has an acrylic in it. It's not moving. So because it has an acrylic, it should not move off my mineral paper when I put water over it again. So this, I just wanted to give a little background. And you can get really crazy if you wanted to put let me just spray a little bit more. Maybe some straight, I'm gonna grab this tube colors here. Grab some more blue. And I'm going to just put more, I'm gonna just go for it and put some more on there. And right now there is an acrylic in it, so I've got to really be mindful about that. Gotta go kind of quick. You can always change up the permanency of it just by adding a medium. If you have even some fluid medium, just throw it in there. But always know that your watercolor is not going to, it's not going to move, but then it will dry. If you let it dry in your brushes, your brushes won't come back. It's permanent. So here is this. I'm just going to pull a print, just a regular print on the mineral paper. And I want to see how that looks. And then I have to let that completely dry. And then I can do things to it or over it, and it won't move like it would on the other. So here's a nice, interesting, I don't know if I like what's happening in the middle, but something I could make happen with that, I think. It's very dramatic, very stormy. I'm just going to go and move that. So I think I'm going to put away the plate for a little bit, and I'm going to just show you. I'm going to actually need some surface. I'm going to move this. Yeah, I'll move it off. This is my little lucite thing that I usually put the plates on, but you can, wherever you need to put them. I don't know where I got to put this, somewhere. My table is way too big. Here we go. Or too small. Here we go. I found a home for it. So you can just stick your plate on the top of a package, as long as it, you don't want to leave it on top of something that's going to ruin the plate. So let's get to these. I just think these are so fascinating. I'll do this one first. So I've got this brush, and I'm going to mix up some watercolor. Let's see. I'm going to take, I want to make some green. I want to have some really pretty green. I think this is going to ask for a green that's like a yellowy green, like a green apatite, something really gorgeous. Like, yeah, this one. That's kind of got some yellow in it. And then also there's another one, and I don't see it in here. Should be in here. I know it is. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I'll just use a little bit of that to add more yellow to it. There it is. That's what I was looking for. So I need to load my brush up really nice and wet, full of paint. And then I'm just going to make, I'm not sure this is going to work or not, but I'll find out. I'm going to just make some leaves. There we are. Yeah, I made some leaves. Yeah. See how fun that is? Load up the brush and then make little leaves. Go quickly because on the rice paper, this rice paper is going to soak, it's soaking. So this is the godsend. So it acts differently. So you need to just kind of be aware that when you're working with this, and I'll show you the Tornico, how that's different as well. I'm just making, I don't know if these are bamboo, what are they? I don't even know. They're just some leaves. But I need to make them in different sizes too, like that. Just play and see how quickly I'm just kind of flicking my wrist on that. And maybe I'll add a different green just to see. And I saw that I really went too dry there. This is too dry. These are wet enough. So I can't really go over it again. So I'm just going to go big and just do it like this and just kind of play. So I've got these little, I don't know what they are, plants, but I think that they're so much fun. So I'm layering, and I'm going to do, my other layer will be with some silver or gold. Yeah, maybe like that. And everywhere where there's the end of a branch, I'll just add leaves, different sizes. So there is that. You've got a painting, you've got a back kind of a landscape. Let's see, maybe I'll add some down here. I'll give it a ground, or some place to live, like a place where it's grounded. And then I can introduce colors if I want. I can use the Japanese colors, or I can use the Western colors. Any watercolor is going to work with this. I just gave it a kind of a place to sit, and there is just a fun idea. And now I want to show you, I don't know if I can grab the other one. There's the other one. Now you can create the same idea on another. This one I'm going to do a different brush. This one I'm going to try, see how this looks. And I'm going to try a different green this time. It's much darker. Oh, what is that? That's almost like too dark. Forget that. I'm going to use, maybe I'll mix that with that green. That'll look good. Just going to try something different. So here I'm going to go yeah, I like that. I like it better, I think. Just a nice, I like the dark, kind of looking similar to the branches. Now this brush is way different. It's making the leaves pointier, and so I have to change the way I use flick my wrist. But you just kind of play. You can make them just any kind. Here we go. And try to be expressive. Don't worry about exactly looking like a leaf. It isn't one, but just playing. So here I can just do little lines and kind of, or make birds or make shapes. But that's a way that you can just kind of get away from the fear of the rice paper. You can create a design and you can finish it off. But you started with the gel plate. That's the thing. That's so cool. Then you can just continue on and just kind of play with the design, and don't worry about what the end result is yet, because you can still use it. So I'm going to go to this. This is my little ocean thing, my ocean theme. And I want to take this time to make, now that I've done that's jelly printed only. So now I'm going to take some paint and I'm going to just go for it. This one is, this is my blue, and I'm just going to use that design and just painting kind of like I'm basically, there we go, need it nice and dark. Just kind of using that as a guide or a place to start. Don't have to There we go. Don't have to follow it exactly, but it's kind of nice to have that shape to work from. And I've got this more dramatic thing happening now, and I could create little circles or kind of define these shapes a little more if I want. And let's try for fun. I don't even know if the gold or the silver is going to work really well or not with this. And with this, oh, it's pretty. It sure is pretty. Of course, I've got it contaminated now with the blue and some black. Well, I don't know if it's going to float on there or not, but let's find out. We'll find out. And we can just like, oh yeah, gorgeous, gorgeous. So the silver is, if you can see, it's actually kind of floating on top because this paper is soaks in the water and it keeps the pigment floating on top. So you've
That's
got
so
like,
pretty.
pardon, what was that, Phoebe?
Oh, that's so pretty. Maybe like after you do some, you could bring it up closer. I can kind of tell, but I think that's so good to see.
Yeah, so I don't think my camera does close-ups really well. Let's see.
Oh, that's okay. Oh
See how
yeah, we
it's
can
like, see
it
that, how
shiny.
it just totally shine. It looks like pearly pearl, yum yum. Now I'm gonna take the stencil and do a little silver right over. I just think this would be, but I'm gonna try something. I've never tried it directly onto the rice paper, but I'm gonna try it this time. Going really thick, and I'm just gonna, oh yeah. Using the stencil instead of the plate for now, because I'm kind of, done with my gel plate session. And then for now, but then I've got like little ways to just create nice, bright, shiny little highlights and designs here. I can do the same thing here. I can bring this shape. I love this shape here. So let's try to bring that out. Maybe a little bit with a different, let's see, what color could I use? I'm going to try, maybe get away from the greens for a minute. Oh, I know which one. I don't even know what seashells color are anymore. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to put this through the stencil and see. Let me just see how it works. Now, the rice paper absorbs the water so quickly, so it gets a nice shape, which is really nice. And I'm going to do this again, maybe over here. I'm going to do it right where it needs it, right there. Nope, needs to be over here. I don't want it to be right across from the other one. I'm just going to take maybe what's in my palette for now. And then, yeah, changing it up. So there, let's see. Now let's go back to our the papers that we had. This one here has the water, it has the medium on it. That one has medium, and then I'm going to go to the one that doesn't, so I can find it. There it is. This one does not. So let's see what happens when we play with that. I'm just going to move that out of the way for now. So I've got just going to use kind of clear water. If you see my water container, it's not looking so clear right now. It's pretty dark. I just want to kind of work with this a little bit. I could also use a damp sponge. We'll see what happens, but I want to lift. Okay, I'm just going to take a paper towel. You see what I just did? I just wet it down, and now I'm going to just pick it up with, and I just lifted some color. I don't know if you see that really well. Let me just move that. See how I just lifted up the color? And I created a soft shape. Now you can also do that with a stencil, which is fun. Let me just show you that. So I'm going to take, this stencil has a lot of color on it already, though. It probably won't work. Let me grab one that has no paint on it, or a little bit. I'll move this aside for now, and I'll get back to that. So this one is a pretty nice stencil. I'm just going to lay it on top, and I'm going to use, just going to wet it. I probably over wet it. But I'm going to just give it a nice scrub. And mineral paper allows me to do this. I mean, you can scrub mineral paper like crazy, and you can practically sand it, and it's not going to go anywhere. Let me just see what happened. See how that lifted and made a nice shape, but it wasn't as strong as I'd like it to be. But that's probably because I made it way too wet. So I'm going to take less water and try it again. This time maybe, or I could use a damp sponge, which I don't have with me. A damp sponge will probably also do it. Now, another thing is mineral paper it does grab the paint a little bit more than, of course, Yupo would. But there, I got a much better lift there because I didn't use as much paint or water, excuse me. Now then you can just go in and start playing. Now that you've got your design already there, let's see. I don't know why I'm using black, but I'm going to use it so you can see it probably. So here I'm just going to kind of bring in the shape a little bit and do some, like, of course it's not dry, it's moving around, but you can keep building and building over it. Now I wanted to share with you this. This is the stuff I use the medium. Let's see what happens. Let's see if I was right on that. I'm going to take maybe, do I have another stencil plain one here? Well, I have one I haven't used. Yeah, well, at least part of it hasn't been used. This little piece of seaweed. Now, this one has the acrylic medium over it. So I'm not sure. Nope, it's not going to move. You see, it's not lifting. It's not moving. So that's the good thing. If you wanted to layer, well, just a little bit. And, oops, now I've got putting other paint on there. I don't know if it's from with the stuff that's on there, or let me just try something. See, it's not moving around much at all compared to if I were to take the mineral paper that didn't have treatment on it and use my water, it's going to move. See how it's moving very easily? Which is nice. You can move things around. If you don't like something, just move it around. But it still leaves a little ghost image of what you had before. So you can just play with it and get your marks, get your shapes down, whatever you want. But this one has the medium on it, so it's not going anywhere. So I can start laying down other things, and it's not going to, let me just dab that off. It's not coming up. It's just not. So I can put something like this on, and I don't have my stencil brush, so I'm just going to use this. Let's see. I'll use some green out of this thing and see if I can just get some color laid down and see what happens. But I like using the gel plate as a starting point because, believe me, you're not going to have any, you're going to it's going to make everything really loose. And same with the watercolor through the stencil. That is really loose and wet looking. And I did, it's fun. It just needs to be toned down a little. But the way to do that is you can go in and you can like pick up the areas that you don't like. Like there's too much puddling. I had way too much water going on. So I can kind of go in and work it, the way I want to. And I have so much water. Or if I wanted to use a stencil brush, like one of these, like a stencil brush, and just gently take the watercolor and dust it, or even better yet, I'm trying to find one of these little dome foam things, which I've got here. These types of things, it's foamy. Let me try that with that, show you. Since I already have this one messed up, I might as well do a comparison. So I'm going to pick up some paint and put it in it's just a dark green. I don't think I really like that green. Okay, just going to pick up some paint from my and put it on my dome so that it's not too saturated. Then I'm just going to tap it in kind of like this. And if I wanted to use this, that would even work too. Oh yeah, that would work. That is actually, the Japanese watercolors are even better because you can get in there with the dome thing easy. I'm just going to kind of move it around, and this time it's not really wet, it's just color going through, and I'm actually rubbing some of the color that's on the stencil already into the image. I like this. This is something I've never done before, so I'm doing it first time. Let's just see what it looks like now when I lift it. It's going to be probably a lot different looking than the one on the right. Much cleaner. Watch me now. This little part was all from the water underneath, all these little parts, but I can just dab that up right now. Just pick that up because it was that was from the earlier stencil. There we go. That looks a lot prettier. Nice and clean lines, and I think I'll be able to use that for something. I'm just going to dab off these little things. Now, if you want to make it permanent, you can spray some fixative over it. If you still want it to move around, if you plan to do things over it. And this one is just going to go away for now. And I love what's happening here. It's like a total, I don't know, we'll figure out what that's going to be. But it's like finger painting for adults. And that paint underneath is not moving. The watercolor doesn't want to move from that, and that's from the medium. So, and this will be a picture someday. I don't know when, and what it is, but I kind of like it. Now this one, I could bring the same, this one, I'm going to blot off some of that extra water though, because that was distracting. Now I'm just going to bring this and I'm going to flip this over like this. I'm just going to kind of make it look like it's like I'm owning this, right? I'm just owning this. And I'm going to take some blue and I'm going to dab, puts a little bit of water in it, just a little. And then I'm going to use my little foam brush or foam thing. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to dab it through like this. And I can even just go like, oh, ouch, what was that? That hurt. That hurt my stencil. It didn't hurt me. Really shouldn't drag it like that, especially some stencils aren't happy when you do that. I'm just going to do this, or I could use any color, but I'm just trying to stick with my monochromatic palette. Maybe that wasn't maybe I should just go for it and try different colors. All right, let's just try to keep the stencil in one place, Karen. There we go. And this time I'm just going to bring it in, try to get some of the leaves to be more dramatic. And then I'm going to lift it and see what happens. Let's just see. Yeah. So now it's coming into its own. So I can just, flip it, do more, maybe another thing like this, and just keep until I have a pattern or something I really like. But that's the beauty about playing with, starting with the base of your gel print and then just playing. And this is on the mineral paper. So rice paper, I can't do this with. Just won't happen. I'm going to just put a little water in that and more paint and just tap it in. And I can go afterwards, after this is all, I can come in with details if I want to later. Yeah, pretty. So I can just, in this part, I can continue with my paintbrush, and I could just kind of own this and just kind of make it my own by just starting to make my own marks on it. Like here, instead of it, so it doesn't look so much like a stencil, I'm just going to go in and make kind of like finish it off, put some, kind of connected pieces, because stencils usually have like, they're not connected. So I'm just going to do this connection right now and see, I'm able to make these pretty little foliage things, and eventually they'll look kind of like my own. I just keep playing with it. And this one, this one I probably would have done really well to use some light colors, but just wanted you to see how my thinking is on this, because you can just kind of add your own stuff and then just create your own leaves. Now that you see the ones that are there, you can just build from there. So then it doesn't look like a stencil piece anymore. Looks like it's like yours. So does anybody have any questions or want me to do anything you want to see? Please let me know. Now's the time.
No questions yet, but Kathy was saying that she really loves these designs, and so she can't wait to try it.
Oh, cool. That was coming along. We'll just And I'm just going to put some more like things in there, little designs, little, and now it looks like I own that. So, and then just keep playing until you fill the space the way that you like. And then probably at the end of this one, I might even do maybe one more layer of gel, a gel print layer on top of that. But this one is the mineral paper is really fun to work with. So there it is. I think we've got a few more minutes, but anybody want to see anything else?
Feel free to drop in your questions. I think everyone's probably just tuning in and like getting zen, watching you create.
Yeah.
The colors are so soothing.
Yeah, the blue, it really, I like working with just one color, like, no, a family of color just makes it so much, it makes it really nice. Okay, so this one, I've got some stuff on my jelly plate. I'm going to try to take off a little. I'm just going to spritz it with water. And then see what I can take off and see if I can make anything happen. I don't know. It's really sticking. It's funny how the paint sticks to that gel plate much more than acrylic paints do. It just goes into I don't know why, it goes into it more than anything I've ever seen with paints. So I'm just going to see. Oh, yeah, made a little design. We'll see how it goes on to what paper do I have left. I've used up so much paper. Here we go. Let's just see if I can get a print out of that. I hope so. Yeah, I got something. I wanted something subtle because I haven't been doing much subtle today. So I wanted to see if I could get a little something subtle. And we'll find out. Yes, that's what I was looking for. I wanted a very soft, ethereal print, and I got it just by, wow, I like that. So I'm going to do it again. I see some paint still on the surface, and what I noticed I don't see the silver so much, but I'm going to try it one more time. Got another piece of this gorgeous. This is the Gossan. Always my favorite. If you see the gel plate, I don't know if you see that, but I'm going to tip it. See that silver on there? I'm just like trying. I want to get that. I want to have that. So let's see if I can just spray with some distilled
Karen,
water.
where did you find those stencils again? Could you remind us?
Yeah, let me tell you. Okay, you can get them off Etsy. It's Megan, Megan, Quinlan, Quinlan Studio. Just type it in Etsy and you'll find her stuff. She makes stencils. She's a very, her stencils are delightful. I've got I think I have them all, just about. And they're really fun. She makes them herself, I guess. And this one nothing came up. Really very little on that.
Oh, I love it. I think I'm dropping it into the comments, but I think I even found the stencils you have. There's one called Organic Ocean and one
called Organic Ocean. Exactly. Now I love it because it's very, all of her stencils don't have a lot of detail, which is great for this. When you're working through for this stuff, you don't want little tiny holes, on your stencils. You just don't want that. So this is really for this, it's perfect to put watercolors through, and her stuff is really fun. So I just wanted to show you. Oh, look at the purple. Ooh.
Oh, that's nice.
Black. That's going to be a really nice background for something. I don't know what, but you'll see. I'll do stuff with it. Yeah, this is the organic. This is the set. This, and it came, as I remember, it came with these two. Yeah, this is what I got right here. The waves, and it comes with these little cool doodles, which I think is fun. So like what I'm going to do over this ocean, let's say I wanted to make some detailed doodles. Like right in here. Now here's how I would do that. I'm going to show you a little. I'm going to move that out of the way and just stack that plate onto another. So here's how I would do this. So this is like a little, I'm going to take my little foam stamp and I'm going to cheat here. This just makes it easier. You can also draw directly, but I'm going to use my little foam stamp and a little stamp pad. And I'm going to hold it right here, and now I'm going to just put it through. I've never actually used a stamp over or this kind of ink over my on rice paper, so I don't know how it's going to look. I've never done it. Let's see. We'll find out. I always like playing, experimenting for the first time. But now I've got my doodle. See how the lines are really nice and sharp? That to me is really cute. Kind of adds.
Awesome.
Yeah, it
Which
adds
paper
kind of
was
a.
that again?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Oh, I wonder which paper that was again.
This is the Gossamer.
Gossen. Oh, love that. Oh
Yeah,
my
isn't
gosh.
it neat? So it gives a nice sharp. So I'm able to get a nice sharp, detail, which is nice, and it soaks. I think it soaks the ink in really nice. Then it doesn't bleed, so it looks like a drawing rather than soaking in. I mean, looking like a painting. So I'm going to do a little bit more here. I'm just trying to soak that ink in really well, and look at that. Yeah, I like that. So you can play, you can give it detail. Here's little bubbly things, like you can go crazy. And it's all about designing your own artwork with this stuff anyway. It's not about, stencils are kind of that way. They're really meant to be a jumping off point for your creativity, for what you're going to do. Because, they invoke like, ooh, look what's happening. Oh, shoot. See the silver? It's resisting the silver watercolor. I don't know if you see that. I'm going to show you stop moving. I'm going to show you how that looks. It looks like little rocks with metal. Oh my gosh. I've got to show you this. Okay, now if you look how the silver resisted. So that watercolor the ink won't stick to the watercolor. It's kind of funny.
That's really cool.
Isn't that fun? So see how you can just get lost in get lost in your own little ocean of creativity, right? Now, the first one I did the other day was a lot better. I don't know why. But you know what? Every time you do a sample, it's always the first one that's always the best. So, but I'm going to show you some of the prints that I've done today. So you saw that one. This is like one of the first ones, and I can't wait to draw over it and use it in this is the Tornico. Now, I do want to show you something. Because we've got our stuff here. I've got some ink here. Let's say you want to just do some mark making, or you want to just create some words or something over this. This is going to you don't have to go fast with this one, because it is I've got some semi ink still in here. We'll see what happens. So if I just start making a script like, love, or I'm doing asemic writing, which is really there's nothing recognizable. Now, what's cool is with this paper, it's not soaking through, and you can go slow and you still get a nice fine line. But this is going to be a fun paper I'm going to use for collage or whatever. I can use it for journals. I can stick it in the collages. But now I've got a beautiful background that I had done with the gel plate, and then I have this scribbly kind of stuff going on. And you can do this and even write your thoughts. Like you can write some things like you were mad at somebody you can just vent, or write some loving positive words, positive thoughts that, to world peace. How about that? Let's write world peace and, good things. And just kind of, you've got this background now and this little backdrop of all kinds of stuff. I mean, this is just, it's kind of like scribbling. I'm not really writing, I'm just scribbling. And I'm using this brush, which I love. Well, actually, I thought I was using the SW brush, but anyway, the SW series brushes do the same thing. So now I've got this beautiful kind of thing happening. And I got something I can use. Or I can actually turn this into a really gorgeous origami paper. I think that'd be cool. I can cut it up and then I can fold it. And wow, wouldn't that be something? Some of these, like this one, it's not dry yet, but this will be gorgeous cut into origami paper. So you really, all these aren't going to be lost. They'll be used for something, whatever. I'm not sure which ones I'm going to use for what, but I think that would be really, could be used for something. But here, I'll go through my prints. Here's this one. Here we are. This one's fun. You know what I would do with this one? I'm seeing what it needs right now. I'm going to show you. I'm going to just use a little, where'd it go? Just where's my black when I need it? Okay. Just some black watercolor or dark. And really, this is almost like, think this is neutral tint. Oops, I better watch out. I better not put it under there, but I'm just going to make little marks. I think this is just screaming for little marks like this. Like kind of like these, and really nothing, now I've got the shape of the little bubbles. I'm just going to use my brush to make these little marks kind of going through. And this is very meditative and very calming. In fact, take a deep breath, just make these little marks. And you don't have to make them perfect. But that's giving contrast to these little pieces. Now this is Gaussian. You can see it's soaking through, which is, and I'm not using Sumi ink, but Sumi ink would work beautifully on this. If you just wanted to load up a brush with Sumi ink and do your backgrounds, wow, that would be even more dramatic because the color would even be more, much more dramatic, much more intense. This is just watercolors. So, but that was our theme for today, watercolors. So, and I've just filled my page and I've got a really cool page full of marks. Oops, I skipped one right there. So that's one. And I'm just going to show you the other ones. And this one, this is the mineral paper. I think that one came out really nice. I don't even want to mess with it. I love it. I'm going to use that for something. I don't know what, but I will. Now let's see what else we've got. We got lots. I did a lot with you today. This one, I just love the way it beat it up like this. Isn't that just something? I just love that just by itself. And this one here is also asking for something, but you know what I would do with this one? I'm going to use some Sumi ink because I thought I should. Let's see, where is it? Grab a little bit more Sumi ink here and put it in my tray. Just not too much. And this one, I'm just going to use, I'm going to go like using these little circles kind of as my guide. And I think this is Torinico. I'm not sure. I'll find out. Yep, that's Torinico because it's letting me go slow and it doesn't soak through. Yep. And I'm just going to use these little shapes as my guides, kind of like not perfectly, but I'm just kind of using these and I'm making little shapes around these shapes. And I'm not trying to be perfect. This is another way of really exercising your getting your eye-hand coordination, getting your muscle memory for your drawings and paintings or whatever you're going to do. You can do this as an exercise. Don't worry about it being perfect, but just, as a way to free yourself up, and then making marks is going to help you in your just general whatever you're doing. It even helps you with your handwriting. It's going to help you because it's going to give you control of your arm, your eye. You basically are trying to have some connection between the eye and the hand, right? So doing these kinds of exercises and doing them consistently is going to give you that control, and then you'll have beautiful drawings. You'll be able to make things that you never thought was possible because you'll be able to control what your eye is seeing. It can kind of translate down into your hand and into the paper. And see how fun that is? I can just do this forever. So, you can cut me off when you want, baby. But I'm just finishing this page and see how quickly this is and what a nice now I've got a nice paper that I can use for all kinds of stuff. And it will be used. And I'm drawing on the smooth side of the paper. Just, there's two sides to these papers. There's a rough and a smooth. They're that way for a reason. I think it's the manufacturing, but they it makes a difference. You can draw on one side and then the other side with its rough side. It's good for gluing. It bonds to other surfaces better. So if you're going to mount it on something, you can, and it really works. There, I got it. I did it all. Whoops, one more right there. So that one is, look how pretty that is. I just love it. And then I'll set these aside and I'll have something to look at. Let's see this one. The same thing. I can do the same thing with this one. I won't bore you with that. This one needs that. I'll do that later. This one I like just by itself, but these two, however, kind of need some focal areas. I just won't do them to you now. And this one, you can see how pretty that one is. That was from my last session. But this was just painting directly on the gel plate. I made circles on the gel plate and then I pressed it onto that. That's how I made those. And same with this one. I painted on the gel plate, but didn't really like the colors as much. And this is the first one. I really love this. This one is the Torinico. And it really came out just very nice. It just went over with some brush strokes to give it that definition. And here's the one I did today. It's still wet, but I think this would be fun to put some contrasting marks on as well. So, and then I've got the mineral paper here, this one here, which I think is fun. I could add some detail with ink. I think would look really cool. Because what I mean by that is just taking like just little marks like this, kind of following the stencil design a little bit, but not exactly perfectly, but just kind of, doing that. I think that's going to be fun. But I won't do that the whole day. I won't bore you with that for the whole day. But anyway, that's one way. And just keep going through your piles of prints. And then this is going to be gorgeous to something. I don't know what. And that was the first one I made. That one is looking for detail as well. And I don't know if this is the guy. Let's find out. Oh yeah. So this one it's Torinico. So what I can do with Torinico is I take my time, I can make little marks going, just kind of having fun, making like a motif that doesn't look like a stencil anymore. And here I'll do this thing here, just like that, and just kind of using that as a big place to start. But it isn't the stencil anymore. It won't look like the person who designed the stencil will probably maybe not recognize it, maybe. But then you can just create your own shapes and just keep going throughout the whole page. So that's it for me, because we are way over time, aren't we? We just I went over.
I think we're doing good. People are just hanging out and getting inspired.
Oh,
But
good.
This is great. I think you've inspired Denise to go shopping.
Uh-oh. Is that
gel
Denise
pad.
from Florida?
Yeah, I believe so.
I'm sorry, I'm making you go shopping again. Oh no. No, I'm not. No, I just think it's, you know what? Life is short. Right? They say, my thing is, life is short, eat the cupcake, but also life is short, get the art supply you need and buy the best stuff. Don't waste it on the stuff that's not going to give you the most joy. And this is like, to me, I'm having so much fun, and I'll probably be doing this long after we sign off.
Yeah, coast into the weekend with some art.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much to you, of course, Karen, for another awesome, fun demo. And then thank you, everyone, for joining us. We'll see you again in a few weeks with another one. Comment if you have any things that you want us to cover, or any like projects that you'd like to see us do. We're happy to, make these videos based on what you want to see. So thank you, everybody. Have a great weekend.
Have fun. I'm going to keep painting, so I'll see you next week.